everyone. Hello, this is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. This is a pre-recorded show. So the context of what I say tonight, those events may already take place after you see this show. But we have breaking news. A shooter set a fire in Idaho to lure in firefighters, then started opening fire on police and firefighters as they were responding to the wildfire. Again, that is crazy. A man purposefully set a fire to lure firefighters and policemen to have them get hurt and possibly be burned to death. And another breaking news, President Trump has had a phenomenal week. We'll put up that first slide. As they say, it was absolutely extraordinary. On Monday, last Monday, a ceasefire between Iran and Israel. On Tuesday, he drives plans for NATO allies to ramp up their defense spending. On Wednesday, confirms talks with Iran for next week. On Thursday, Nestle is getting ready to remove the artificial dyes from their company, Make America Healthy Again. On Friday, Supreme Court makes it far more difficult for these lower court judges to put in these injunctions. That's what President Trump has been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks. And if you read Amy Coney Barrett's description of why she came to the decision that she made, it is powerful and it is riveting. And on Saturday, President Trump manages to get his big, beautiful bill passed through procedure. 51-49. They thought that they would have to bring Vice President J.D. Vance in there for the tie break. J.D. Vance actually went in there and he rounded up the last couple of votes. He got Murkowski to vote yes. He got Ron Johnson to vote yes. It was the senator from North Carolina, Thom Tillis, as well as the senator of Kentucky, Rand Paul, that voted no for the bill. And because of that, there has been such repercussions in Congress and in DC. Now into segment one. J.D. Vance, as I said, saves Congress. We go into slide one, breaking. The big, beautiful bill has officially advanced in the Senate thanks to Vice President J.D. Vance. He did not have to intervene, but did successfully convince senators on the floor. I can tell you he did a much better job than Senate Majority Leader John Thune did. Where was John Thune to round up these votes? No, J.D. Vance had to go in there as the president of the Senate and round up the votes for President Trump. Now what's going on as we speak is that they are in debate right now. So what Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer did is he wanted every single Democrat senator to read the whole 900-page bill, which takes about 24 hours to do. In a way, it's good that the Democrats got to read the bill because they got to read what's in it. And also, it has we, the American people, for the first time, really knowing what's inside the bill. Now, a lot of people are saying that a lot of things were taken out of the bill that weren't supposed to be taken out. That's why after the debates, we go into what they call a final vote, and hopefully things that were taken out will be put back in. But that's what's going on right now currently on Capitol Hill. And then we go into the second slide, at Real Donald Trump, where he writes, tonight, we saw a great victory in the Senate. This happened very late at night on Saturday night. It wouldn't have happened without the fantastic work of my Florida Senator, Rick Scott, Senator Mike Lee of Utah, Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, and Senator Cynthia Lummis. And he writes at the bottom, God bless America and make America great again. And then the third slide, at Real Donald Trump. This is very important. He says, Republicans must remember, there we go, that they are fighting against a very evil, corrupt, and in many ways incompetent group of people. He's talking about the Democrats. The Democrats don't have grandstanders. Democrats have House and Senate rules that give power to their leaders, committee chair people, etc. But for some reason, Republicans don't have that. And I can attest to this. I deal with Republican leaders, rhinos in Annapolis and so forth, even in the Florida state legislature. There's a lot of what we call grandstanders. That's why President Trump has gone so hard on Congressman Thomas Massie, because everything that President Trump puts to the floor, anything that Speaker Johnson or Congress puts to the floor, Thomas Massie just votes no on. And then look what happened with the Republican senators. Why couldn't every single Republican senator vote for the one big beautiful bill? Why did Thom Tillis have to grandstand? Why did Rand Paul have to grandstand? President Trump made the point that Senator Thomas Tillis is actually worse than Senator Rand Paul. And because we have all these grandstanders, finally, these congressmen and these senators realize that they can't win re-election because they're constantly going against President Trump. North Carolina, a state that President Trump knows very well. His daughter, Laura Trump, is from North Carolina. The chairman, Mike Whatley, is from North Carolina. President Trump won North Carolina 3 times with very big numbers, even with a Democrat governor. They have a Democrat governor in North Carolina right now. But North Carolina still thrives because of President Trump in the White House, because President Trump is in the White House. But when you have a rhino Republican as the senator, it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. And it actually hurts the people of North Carolina. Where was Thom Tillis when the people of North Carolina were going through the massive hurricane that they had and they needed hurricane relief? He was MIA, but President Trump was there. J.D. Vance was there. President Trump is there for the people of North Carolina. Thom Tillis is not. And President Trump made that known in this tweet, in the 4th slide. Actually, this truth. At Real Donald Trump, he wrote, Thom Tillis, and I'll abbreviate that, of North Carolina, voted no for the bill. President Trump said he was already taking applications to primary him out. And there's a lot of people that are looking to primary out Thom Tillis. But guess what? Because of the Trump effect, Thom Tillis actually resigned. He will not be running for re-election. So now it is an open seat. I've heard reports that his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, is actually thinking of running for the Senate seat. Now, she thought about running for it before. And I know people like Corey Lewandowski kind of convinced her not to do it. He didn't want her to be a part of the D.C. swamp. But she was the co-chair of the RNC. She has a big contract with Fox News. Of course, she's in the political arena because of her father-in-law. There's actual reports that her husband, Eric Trump, is thinking of running for president of the United States. I'm all for it. I know a lot of people don't like legacies, dynasties, and so forth, but this is a different type of family, different type of era, different type of politics. As you know, President Trump does not consider himself a politician. He's not a typical politician. And the only people, in my opinion, that can implement his agenda are his children and his family. There's even talk of Don Jr. running for president 2028. People are already pushing for Barron Trump to run for president 2044. If President Trump has his family in positions of power, the America First agenda, in my opinion, and in others' opinions, will thrive forever. It is a movement like no other. We do not want the pendulum to swing. We do not want a bunch of rhinos running our country, and we don't want the squad becoming president of the United States or vice president one day. Look at who's the head of the Democrat Party. You have AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar. You have crazies. Eric Smallville, I call him, Adam Schiff. These are crazies in the Democrat Party. You don't want them to become president of the United States and vice president one day. Heck no. Not at all. We can't have that. And President Trump doesn't want to have that either. President Trump has already called to primary at Thomas Massie or to have him be removed from office. And I'm sure he's calling to primary at Rand Paul as well. Because we cannot have grandstanders in Congress anymore. President Trump has the power with the House of the House of Representatives being Republican and the United States Senate being Republican. The first 2 years are going to be crucial. We don't want it to flip back to Democrat, where we can't get any bills passed. So I thank President Trump for putting the pressure on Thom Tillis. Also, Don Bacon, a big rhino from Nebraska, District 1, he decided to not run for re-election again either. A big-time rhino. Get these rhinos out. Also, because of President Trump and his power, he has gotten the state of Israel to postpone Bibi Netanyahu's trial. The state of Israel wants to put Bibi Netanyahu on trial for ridiculous things. This is a trial from 2022. It's a political witch hunt that the state of Israel is doing to Bibi Netanyahu. But as a result of President Trump tweeting out and as a result of his power, he was able to help Bibi Netanyahu to get borrowed time. So Bibi Netanyahu doesn't have to go on trial. Not anytime soon. Because we are in the midst of a ceasefire right now. We are in a ceasefire right now. Bibi Netanyahu and President Trump are working to expand the Abraham Accords. They're having or they're thinking of, or they're talking to, excuse me, Syria signing on to the Abraham Accords, as well as Saudi Arabia, Azerbaijan, maybe even Lebanon, other countries that you would never think that would sign on to the Abraham Accords. President Trump wants to finish this peace in the Middle East. He wants to demolish Hamas once and for all. And he wants the Arab nations to be involved in the Abraham Accords so we can have peace in the Middle East for a long time. President Trump's words are powerful. His mouth is powerful. He is powerful. But President Trump made it very, very clearly that the state of North Carolina will not allow one of their senators to grandstand in order to get some publicity for himself for a possible but very difficult reelection. And he barely won reelection, by the way, the senator did. He barely won. He actually needed Trump in 2020 to get him over the hurdle. So it's very interesting that President Trump threatened to primary him out, Thom Tillis, and all of a sudden he decided to resign because he knew he wasn't going to win after that. And then what does Thom Tillis do? He goes on the Senate floor, talks how awful the bill is, how he couldn't vote for it, attacks President Trump. I mean, is that what he's just going to continue to do until the end of his term? He's out in 2026. I should say in January 2027. But that's what these grandstanders do. They just continue to combat President Trump. They know in the back of their mind that they won't get reelected, and they don't care, and they just vote against President Trump and the American people every single time. Now, one man, President Trump, has gotten 2 rhinos to not run for reelection. A lot of people were saying, oh my God, this isn't good. It opens up the door for a Democrat to take their places. That's not necessarily true. It actually opens up the door for a more conservative person, more conservative people, America First people that have never run for office in their life to get in there. There's a lot of rhinos in the state of Maryland where Tim Fazenmaker lives. He's got a rhino delegate. He's got a rhino state senator. I know Tim and I work hard every single day to get those rhinos out of office, possibly force them to retire. Because A, they're not going to get reelected. B, their constituents have #had enough and they're seeing the light. And number 3, they're not pushing President Trump's agenda forward. They're going against his executive orders. They're going against the America First agenda. We cannot have Republicans going against President Trump. He is the head of the party. It's like, get with the damn program. Crazy. It's craziness. It's craziness to think that these rhinos think that they have power over President Trump. And they want to do everything they can to stop him. It's insane and asinine. I'm so sick and tired of these rhinos, never Trumpers, snowflakers, grandstanders. I'm so glad that President Trump has called them out. So glad. Because the thing is, if we don't get these rhinos out, they're going to continue to be there forever. Because remember, Congress isn't term limited. I have pushed for term limits. Tim Fazenmaker pushes for term limits. A lot of great people on this program push for term limits. It has to be done. And remember, I've challenged these congressmen and senators that have said, I believe in term limits. Well, term yourself out. Resign. Leave. If you've been there for 20, 30, 40 years, get the hell out. If you're afraid that a Democrat's going to take over your district, then do everything you can to recruit someone that will take over your district and do better than you or fulfill your legacy. But don't stay in there for 20 or 30 years. It doesn't help. It hurts the next generation. You have young men and women that really deserve a shot. But when you stay in there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you're hurting the next generation. And again, passing the one big beautiful bill helps the middle class. It helps the average American. It helps single mothers. It helps families from all different incomes. This is not for the billionaires like the stupid Democrats preach all the time. The farmers are loving this bill. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. The Democrats want to keep $1.4 million to give to illegals for Medicaid. They want to give illegals health care. What this bill does is it cuts that $1.4 million away from those illegals that have Medicaid. That's what Tom Tillis is all about, Medicaid. Medicaid, Medicaid, Medicaid. Let's keep the world on Medicaid. Medicaid is not something you want to stay on forever. That's a government control. Just like the stupid Democrats came up with this concept, Medicare for all, which doesn't work. You get Medicare when you're 65 years of age. That's when Medicare kicks in. There's no such thing as Medicare for all. It can't exist. It should never exist. It doesn't make sense. No, I know people that are on Medicare and Medicaid. But again, that's government control. The whole point is that President Trump wants American workers to get back on their feet so they do not rely on the government. Illegals are relying on the government because they feel that that's their only protection. But the fact that any Republican would want an illegal on health care or provide an illegal more benefits than a legal citizen of their district and state and their country is asinine to me. There are rhinos in Annapolis that voted for healthcare for illegals, expansion of Obamacare. Obamacare was an effing disaster. Everybody knows this. I'm in the health insurance business. I would never sell ACA to anybody. It's a crappy system. Doesn't even cover everything. And remember, Obama said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. That was all a lie. We all know that was a lie. The bill also solidifies our safety. It provides more money for ICE agents and for Border Patrol agents. So we can hire 10,000 more ICE agents. Why wouldn't any senator vote for that? Why would a Republican vote against that? Why would any moderate Democrat vote against that? I should say, why would any sensible person vote against that? Don't you want to keep your community safe? I have stupid idiots in Baltimore City, like Zeke Cohen, the Baltimore City Council president, that continues to lie to his constituents and say that Baltimore City is safe. The mayor, Brandon Scott, he says the same crap. Baltimore City is safe. Everybody's moving to Baltimore. You hear stupid people that are state senators, delegates in Baltimore County, county executives that lie and say that Baltimore County is great. Everybody's moving to Baltimore County. No, they're not. They're moving away from Baltimore County. They're moving away from the city because it's too damn dangerous. DC is dangerous. There's areas that used to be so wealthy and safe and rich. Not anymore. Stop lying to the people. Why wouldn't you want to keep your community safe? By voting against this, you're allowing your community, your district, to be flooded with illegals that kill innocent Americans, such as Kate Steinle and Jocelyn and Lincoln Riley and so forth. Think of all the innocent lives that were taken by illegal criminals. Think about all the young girls that were raped by these illegal criminals. Think of all the fentanyl that poured into our country because of the drug cartels. Think of all the sex trafficking, the drug trafficking, the child trafficking because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Alejandro Mayorkas and so forth, and Merrick Garland. All these people allowed millions and millions and millions of illegals into our country. President Trump with DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and Border Czar Thomas Homan are doing everything they can to remove thousands of illegals from this country every day. They shouldn't be here to begin with. There's illegal terrorists that live all over this country, including where I have a residency, Montgomery County, Maryland, and in Florida as well. It's time to save our country. It's time to lower inflation. It's time to expand the Trump tax cuts. If we do not pass this bill, the taxes will increase by 6.8%. Everyone's concerned about the debt ceiling. Well, you don't pass this bill, the debt ceiling is going to go through the roof. We want our taxes to go down. We want the inflation to go down. We want our economy to get better. We want the cost of groceries to go down. People want to get married and have kids. People want to get higher paying jobs, better jobs. That's why it's so significant that this bill passes. President Trump was instrumental in his first term, getting a beautiful balanced budget and getting these tax cuts. That was his first order of business. That's what he wanted to do his first term before dealing with repealing and replacing Obamacare. This is something he's good at. This is something he's strong at. This is something he knows very well. This is something that every single Republican senator needs to get on board, and Democrats needs to get on board with this bill too. But it's really sad when all the Democrats work together, they all vote together, they don't grandstand, but you have Republicans that can't come together, that you have to like finagle with them. You have to make a deal with them because they're bought and paid for by their special interests and their lobbyists. Their special interests and their lobbyists come to them and say, no, you can't vote for this because this isn't in there. Or, no, you can't do this. It's really sad. The power is not the special interest and the lobbyists. The power is President Trump. Again, he is the head of the Republican Party. He is your president, your commander-in-chief. You must fall in line with your commander-in-chief, not your special interests and your lobbyists. They're detriments to our nation. They go on Capitol Hill and they demand a lot from Congress. I've seen them. I know a lot of them. And they demand asinine stuff. And they dangle a bunch of money in your face. And if you don't do what they want, they ruin your life. Or they try to primary you out. Please, guys, please. Republicans in the Senate, do the right thing. Get this bill passed before 4th of July. That is the deadline. The deadline to help we the people is before 4th of July. Coming up after the break, we have a great segment, something that's happening in my great state of Florida that should be happening all over this nation. And we'll be back right after the break. Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did. Hello, everyone. Hello, this is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network, segment 2. So last week on my show, we were watching the Democrat mayoral primary race. Unfortunately, this Democratic socialist named Zohran Mamdani won the primary. And I'll be honest, I knew he was going to win the primary. The polling was showing that he was winning the primary. He was endorsed by all these Democrat socialists. He was funded by George Soros. And unfortunately, the state of New York is leaning that way. Because look at the governor, Kathy Hochul. Look at the attorney general, Letitia James. Look at Alvin Bragg. Look at all these morons that are socialists, that are formed and funded by George Soros, or I should say funded by George Soros. But I do say formed and funded because these people came out of nowhere. This guy, Zohran Mamdani, wasn't even born in this country. He was born in Uganda. Apparently, he obtained American citizenship 8 years ago. He's a committee man, or I think he's an assemblyman, and he's governing now, or trying to govern like an assemblyman. He actually does not know the role of being mayor of New York. But what baffles me is that now that he is the Democrat nominee for for mayor, All of a sudden, he's being exposed. All of a sudden, videos of what he said on the campaign trail, before the campaign trail, are coming out now. Now, he did do a lot of interviews this past weekend on ABC, NBC, and so forth. God forbid you go on Fox News. And he talked about what a real socialist he is. He said he wanted to get rid of billionaires. He said he wanted to combat ICE, defund the police. He's very pro-Hamas. He's anti-Israel. Doesn't support the Jewish community at all, even though he claims he does. He supports anti-Jew Jews, I can tell you that. He also wants to tax everything. He wants government-funded supermarkets? Craziness. He wants to take New York into a socialist nation, or make it a socialist nation. And President Trump said, the United States will never be a socialist nation. And he doesn't like socialist people in office. Like, the president is baffled by this. Why this socialist is even in the running. That God forbid he could potentially be the next mayor of New York City and ruin New York City forever. And then once you get these idiots in, you can't get them out. Remember what I said before, a lot of these Democrats, they start on the local level and then they get to the federal level and you really can't get them out. Prime example is Johnny Olszewski Jr. in Maryland. He started on the local level. He was a state delegate. Then he became Baltimore County executive, 2 terms. And now he's a congressman. I hope to God Maryland gets him out because he's horrible. He has voted for everything that does not help his district. He votes with all the Democrats. God forbid he thinks on his own. He was a school teacher, but he's not thinking logically. But that's what happens. That's why they say politics is local. It's really important who you vet, or excuse me, who you put in place, but you must vet your candidates. As a political consultant, my job is to heavily vet the people that I work with. I would have looked into this guy's background. I would have been like, we can't have this. I would have done everything I could to make sure that he did not win the primary. But now that he's won the primary, there's a very, 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 I don't want to say good chance, but there is a chance that he could be the mayor. Now, a lot of people are calling for the Republican nominee, Chris Silva, who's the head of the Guardian Angels, to drop out and to fully endorse and work with Eric Adams, who's running as an independent. Eric Adams is actually the incumbent mayor, but he switched parties because he saw what the Democrat Party was doing to him. Eric Adams does have a shot to win re-election if all of the Republicans and moderate Democrats vote with Eric Adams. But the question is the Republican going to bow out? A lot of people are saying that if the Republican does bow out, he should get a job with the Trump administration or get a job working with Eric Adams. I like the Republican. He's a nice guy. He did win the primary last go around, but he got heavily demolished in the general. And people are saying that he cannot win. They want someone who can win. And I heard former Governor Cuomo, he's going to run as an independent. He's going to do that to try to stop the socialists too. So they're doing everything they can to stop the socialists. But my question to them is, why didn't you do everything to stop him from winning the primary? Why did you wait till he won the primary? Now you're going to do something about it. There's people in positions of power on the federal level that are calling to revoke this guy's citizenship and deport his ass. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Because what they're finding is that he's breaking the law by adhering to the not going, or I would say siding with a foreign nation, meaning siding with Hamas, representing Hamas, wanting Hamas to basically come to New York City. He's breaking a lot of laws here with a lot of rhetoric that he said. They're saying he's pledging allegiance to a foreign nation. They're saying he is not America first. That he's pushing a socialist agenda, pushing a foreign agenda. That he's breaking the Constitution here. He's breaking local law here. And if that's the case, his ass should be deported. I'm all for him getting deported. Just like Ilhan Omar. They should remove her American citizenship and deport her ass. Revoke it, I should say. People that do not have America's best interest at heart should not be here. This guy wants to come in here and make New York City socialist and perhaps, God forbid, make our country socialist. Because remember, once you get these idiots in, it's very hard to get them out. Apex should be doing everything they can to primary this mofo out. Or not primary him, but make sure he doesn't win. But Apex should be doing everything they can to primary out AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Chris Van Hollen, Chuck Schumer. Well, I think Chuck Schumer's resigning. They should be doing everything they can to primary out these morons that hate America, that hate Jewish people, that hate certain skin colors. Governor Wes Moore today, he said he's so happy that he got jobs just for Black people, and that he's so happy that he helped people of color that own small businesses. That guy is so racist. What about him helping all the small business owners? Why do they have to be Black? There's white business owners, Wes Moore. They need your help too. What about the white people that work every day at Amazon and in Trade Point Atlantic that would just love for the Francis Scott Key Memorial Bridge to be rebuilt? I'm surprised you love illegals so much, but you're hurting illegals from working because they can't work on a bridge anymore because the bridge is gone. All the construction jobs are gone. You took people's livelihoods away by not rebuilding that bridge. All you did was draw a picture. What have you done, Wes Moore, to facilitate more jobs, more prosperity for the state of Maryland? You put the state of Maryland in such a deficit. The state of Maryland is broke because of you. You were left with a balanced budget, and you shot it down to hell because of your racism, because of Brandon Scott's racism, because of Attorney General Brown, his racism. All the people in your cabinet are racist, including yourself. You hate white people. You make that very known. You say Black Lives Matter all over the place. You make everything about race. The only reason you didn't vote for the reparations bill is because you knew it wasn't popular. And you didn't want to take the fall for that. But what's going to happen is that your General Assembly is going to override your veto. So you'll get what you want in the end. But that's what I'm saying. And this guy, Wes Moore, wants to run for president. Once you get these idiots in, you can't get them out. That's why it's very important that you heavily, heavily vet your candidates before you put them in office. Now, breaking news down in my great state of Florida, where I'm a permanent resident. Second slide. I know we talked about Zohran Mandari, but we're just going to go straight to the second slide. Florida's alligator Alcatraz will be holding criminal aliens by Tuesday. Trump is going down there as well. This is amazing. So my governor, Ron DeSantis, he's finding a way to round up all the illegal criminals and put them at Alligator Alcatraz in Florida. And it looks like an octagon. And if you try to escape, and let's say you jump into the water, you're going to be welcomed by a bunch of alligators. Just like Alcatraz in California, you try to escape that, you'll be welcomed by sharks. It's the same thing. Ron DeSantis is saying there's no way out. And on Tuesday, the American people will see all the roundups of these illegal criminals in Florida and how my governor is making Florida safe again, and how my governor works with ICE and Border Patrol agents. And Governor DeSantis said by Tuesday, we will be able to have intake of criminal aliens, swamp and alligators for 50 to 60 miles. So again, if people try to escape, this alligator Alcatraz, they're going to be welcomed by a swamp and welcomed by alligators. There's actually a meme going around that the alligators are now ICE and Border Patrol agents. I think it's great. And then just in, my governor said, alligator Alcatraz will be funded with the money Biden set aside to put illegals in 5-star hotels. If you remember, federal government is paying for these illegals to stay at the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City. So legal citizens that were staying in this hotel were pushed out by illegals. No more. Excuse me. No more. No more. I think it's brilliant. The governor doesn't want majority of taxpayers paying for this. He's like, no, the federal government's going to pay for this. But it's not the federal government under Trump. It's Biden's federal government. It's what Biden took to fund the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City for illegals. He said, no, it's payback. He's saying when Joe Biden was in office with Kamala Harris, they wanted to fund all these illegals. Well, guess what? They can fund the illegals right here in alligator Alcatraz. Democrats want to fund illegals. Let them fund illegals right here. Same thing with Alcatraz in California. Democrats want to fund illegals so badly, they can go fund them in Alcatraz. Again, it's about making our country safe again. That's why it's so important that the One Big Beautiful Bill gets passed so we have more ICE agents and more Border Patrol agents. It's very important, guys. It's very, very, very important that these things get implemented. It's going to be great to see President Trump back in his home state of Florida. Remember, he's a permanent resident of Florida now. The first ever president from the state of Florida. That is history. But it's going to be really nice to see him down there watching all these illegal criminals get rounded up in there. And I hope that this sets the precedent for every other state to do this too. Every state should have an Alcatraz, in my opinion. This was approved by DHS. Remember, each state has their own DHS. Each state has their own division of DHS. So Governor DeSantis worked with the DHS of Florida to put this together, and Kristi Noem on the federal level with Border Czar Thomas Homan as well. I'm looking forward to the ribbon cutting. I hope you are too. Coming up right after the break, we're going to talk about the wedding of the century. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello. This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. Yes, I am the White House correspondent for this network. It is an honor and a privilege to be in the White House briefing room with Caroline Leavitt and with President Trump on the White House lawn and so forth. Well, let's talk about this wedding of the century. Finally. And I actually thought these guys were already married. Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, or the founder of Amazon, and Lauren Sanchez, now Bezos, finally tied the knot after being engaged for 2 years at this luxurious resort in Italy. And we'll put up the first slide. So Jeff Bezos got married in Italy this past weekend and spent $50 million on the wedding. Now, let me ask my viewers and my audience, have you ever spent $50 million on a wedding before? Now, Jeff Bezos is a billionaire, so he can afford this type of lavish wedding. But I can tell you that people that spend so much money on a wedding, it is least likely for their marriages to survive. You don't need to have a big, lavish wedding. These two guys are billionaires. They could have went to Vegas and got married, or they could have just filed a marriage certificate in the courts. But no, they chose to make a big spectacle out of their wedding and invite the big list, A-list celebrities out there that majority of people know. Ms. Sanchez wore jewelry estimating to $20 to $30 million. Does the average American woman have $23 million worth of jewelry? No. And keep in mind, sometimes people rent their jewelry or rent their dress for the day, like they do on the red carpet for the Oscars or the Golden Globes. A lot of people, they rent Harvey Weinstein's necklaces or jewelry for the day. But maybe Jeff Bezos bought her all this jewelry. Who knows? Her engagement ring alone is an estimated 20 carats, worth about $2.5 million. Well, I hope she likes that ring, because if she divorces Jeff Bezos, you know, she could sell it and get $2.5 million worth of it. So again, a lot of big A-list actors were there, and actresses and singers. The Kardashians, of course, were there. Bill Gates was there. We all know him. Oprah Winfrey, we all know her. Tom Brady, we know him. Orlando Bloom was there, but he was there by himself. He had just split up with his crazy fiance of almost 10 years, Katy Perry. And we had actually Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. They were there as a representative of the family, as a representative of themselves, as you could even go so far as saying they were representing themselves as the Trump family. But they were there in honor of the wedding, and Ivanka Trump looked gorgeous. And I'll show you the difference between Mrs. Bezos and Ivanka Trump. Let's put up the first image of Lauren Bezos. So that's the dress that she wore. It was a lace-fitted dress. It was a corseted dress. It was long sleeves. I don't know how the hell she wore that. It was so hot in Italy this last weekend. She said that what inspired her dress was the wedding dress that Sophia Loren wore. Exact same silhouette with the long sleeves and the lace. Dolce & Gabbana made that dress for her. I like Dolce & Gabbana because they actually make clothes for the First Lady, Melania Trump. I can tell you this, and I've always said this, I only wear designers that dress the First Lady or that are willing to dress the First Lady. So Dolce & Gabbana is one of them. But this is the dress that she picked out. Again, question to my viewers. Do you like this wedding gown? Do you think this is nice? Do you think it's a little too hot looking? I think it's a little too hot looking. I mean, this woman is covered from head to toe, which I'm shocked. As you know, at the inauguration, she wore a white corset, which showed her breasts to not just the country, but to the world. Mark Zuckerberg looked at it. We all looked at it. I even saw it, and I was like, oh my God, she looks like a hooker. I actually agree with Megyn Kelly on that. She looked like a dollar hooker at the inauguration. And she was all about, look at me, look at me. Anywhere there was a camera, she wanted everyone to see it. I can tell you there's pictures of Lauren Bezos when she was younger. She was very pretty. She had less plastic surgery. And I can tell you that the person who has provided plastic surgery for her has done a really botched job. Her lips look ridiculous. Her face just looks so different. And in my opinion, if she would have backed off with the plastic surgery at such a young age, she wouldn't look the way she is. She's only in her 50s. I know women that don't get fillers and Botox till they're in their 50s. I know women that don't get facelifts till they're in their 50s and 60s. It's better that way. It's actually better. And a lot of women would differ with me on this, but it's the truth. The longer you wait to have plastic surgery, the better it is, the better it absorbs into your skin. When you're getting Botox at age 20, 30, 40, your face is still going down. It's still gravitating. That's why a lot of these celebrities, they keep having constant Botox and constant fillers because their face keeps going down. The gravity keeps going down. So the next image is, of course, of Ivanka Trump and her husband. So I don't know if you can see it. So, of course, the fake news media is going to write something negative about Ivanka Trump, but she looks gorgeous. It said, Ivanka Trump failed to match the success of her arrival outfit. So her arrival outfit was this two-piece knitted dress, or excuse me, it was a knitted top with a knitted skirt. It was very beautiful. But they said that her dress for the wedding day lacked success or failed to match the success. It looked like Glinda from the movie Wicked, meaning she's like one of the wicked witches, even though Glinda was the nicer of the witch. I think she was like the nice witch from the north. But again, the mainstream media and the fake news, they can't write anything nice about Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump is gorgeous. Her husband is very handsome. Ivanka Trump keeps herself. Now, she's had work done, but she knows who to go to. Her body is stunning. She does not look like she's had 3 children at all. I think she works out. I think she surfs. Her body's amazing. She looks so much better than the bride. I think that the fake news media, they were afraid to write anything positive about Ivanka because they didn't want to upstage the bride. But I can tell you, Ivanka looks gorgeous. And here's a close-up of her in that pink dress. Next image. Look at that. Gorgeous. That beautiful pink salmon color. She looks amazing. And then the next image of her and her husband. Look at that. Her husband is wearing a beautiful custom-made suit, navy blue with the tie, and she's matching him and looking exquisite. It's custom-made crystals all over her dress. She looks gorgeous. Her hair is immaculate. Her makeup looks great. Her skin looks amazing. She looks 20 times better than the bride. But again, the fake news media, the mainstream media, they can't write anything nice about her. That's why we're not fake news. We're conservative media. We will always report fairly and honestly. Ivanka Trump, even if I didn't know her, if she was a perfect stranger to me, I would say that's a good-looking woman. That's a great-looking couple. That's a gorgeous couple. Look how gorgeous that woman looks. Her skin looks flawless. And then we go to the next image of Ivanka and Jared. So that's them actually yesterday after the wedding. Look how gorgeous they look. Look how stunning she is in that black dress. And this is daytime she's wearing that with her beautiful pumped heels, small little purse. And they're getting ready to get a boat ride in Italy. And they're having what they call date night. Next image of Ivanka and Jared. Oh, no, sorry. I thought there was, sorry, we're not doing that image yet. I'm sorry. I thought there was another image of Ivanka and Jared. So we'll keep that image. So Ivanka and Jared, two beautiful people, a beautiful couple, a power couple. Now, let me tell you something. Ivanka Trump is a successful woman on her own. She's designed her own dresses. She's designed jewelry, handbags, perfume, purses. I know because I'm a customer of hers. I used to wear her dresses all the time before they pulled them out of Nordstrom's because when her father was running for president, they tried to hurt her and hurt the brand. It was very sad that they pulled President Trump's ties out of Macy's because he was running for president as a Republican. But this woman is such a successful businesswoman, such a successful clothier, that they can't even, that the mainstream media can't even acknowledge her. But of course, the cameras were not focused on her and Jared, God forbid. They were focused on the crazy celebrities, the Democrat celebrities, the celebrities that spew out nonsense. But also, they had to feature the single celebrities. There was a lot of celebrities here that were single. I felt like Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, they invited all these single celebrities to have them hook up. Like a hookup fest. So who were the single people that were there? Bill Gates is single. The Kardashians, they're all single. Tom Brady's single. And this woman, Sydney Sweeney, is now single. There's buzz now that Tom Brady and Sydney Sweeney were talking, chatting, very interested in her. A lot of the single men were interested in Sydney Sweeney. She's a beautiful young woman. She's 27 years old, very pretty. And this next slide, the last slide, of Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry. Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry were engaged for, 6 years. They were together for 10 years. They have a daughter together. Katy Perry went so crazy and so woke and so left. I think that's one of the reasons why she had a very bad divorce with Russell Brand. Now, she claims that it was Russell Brand that ruined her. They were married for 2 years. But, she claims she went on the moon. She's been doing all these tours. She supported Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And to be honest with you, because of her politics, her tour numbers aren't that great. People aren't really going to see her as much as they were before. She wrote or sang this crazy song about, women are first. And I had it in my head. I can't even think about, it's a woman's world. That's what it is. It's a woman's world. Men came first, moron. Everybody knows that. The word woman or woman came from man. So this crazy leftist loon was getting pissed off and frustrated that her tour numbers weren't doing good, that things were not happening her way, and she just lost it. And as a result, Orlando Bloom #had enough. He said, I'm done with this freaking trash piece of crap, emotional moron. Now, I look to Orlando Bloom at his judgment. He should know better. He was married to a beautiful former Victoria's Secret model Miranda Kerr. He had a child with her. She was gorgeous. And he wrecked that marriage. And who is Miranda Kerr married to today? The owner and founder of Snapchat, who's a billionaire. Good job, Miranda Kerr. You did a great job, girl. You upgraded. What did Orlando Bloom do? He downgraded, heavily downgraded, and wasted his youth on that moron, Katy Perry. 10 years of his life dedicating to that crazy biatch, standing on the sidelines. He barely even acted. He didn't even do any work while he was engaged to that moron. And they got engaged because they knew in the back of their mind they weren't getting married. She actually said after they broke up, I'm so glad I didn't marry him because I don't have to go through a whole divorce again. She had no intention of marrying this man. They had no intention of getting married. I don't even know why she was with him. She probably used him for sexual pleasure or whatever. Maybe she had a thing for British men. I don't know. But shame on Orlando Bloom for being with her and wasting 10 years of his life on that crazy. Total downgrade. My question to him is, who are you going to date next? Now, there was a picture of you checking out Kim Kardashian's behind while you were with Katy Perry. And what did you do? The minute you got off that boat, you started flirting with Kim Kardashian. Stay away from that crazy. That's another downgrade. You're going to keep downgrading yourself? And Kim Kardashian wouldn't date you anyway or marry you. She's into black men. That's the truth. So I don't know what your deal is, Orlando. I'll be honest, you looked pretty damn happy with that Katy Perry by your side. Let's see how long the happiness lasts. But my challenge to you is to see if you'll get enough, if you'll upgrade yourself, if you'll upgrade your standards. Because you're not a bad guy. You're not controversial. You're not political. You didn't get involved with Katy Perry's craziness. So I still feel that you can redeem yourself. But I implore you to find the right woman this time. Stick with her. If you want to marry her, that's fine. But I swear, if you downgrade yourself and date Kim Kardashian or anybody lower than that, I will have no respect for you. So this is your chance. This is your moment, Orlando. This is your moment. Now that you're single and free, to do the right thing and date the right person. Katy Perry, I have no sympathy for you whatsoever. I know you can get another guy tomorrow. But all I can say is, everybody, she's hot and she's cold, and she kissed a girl and she liked it. But again, my question to my audience is, how long do you think the marriage will last between Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez? And I don't like to talk like that. A lot of people think they're in love. We'll see. Again, $50 million on a wedding? Crazy. And a lot of these celebrities, they keep their relationships in the public eye, like Katy Perry did and J-Lo did, Kardashians do. Guess what? All their relationships end up in failure. The more successful relationships are the ones where the actors and actresses keep their relationships out of the public view and actually protect their children. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr., they've been married for like 20-something years because they're not in the limelight so much. Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer, have been married for a long time with twins. They're not so much in the limelight. The more that you are in the limelight, the more paparazzi is on top of you, and it wrecks your relationship. That's why J-Lo doesn't have one successful one. Ben Affleck doesn't have one either. The more that these celebrities are out in the open, publicly with a relationship, it's not good. So some people say to me, I give Jeff Bezos and his wife a year. I give them 2 years. Because they're constantly in the limelight. And you know, wherever there's a camera, Lauren Sanchez will make sure that her messed up plastic surgery face will be right there in front of it. Or if her face is messed up, she'll make sure that her boobs are noticeable for the world to see. She'll wear some white hoary corset again. Maybe at another big presidential event. Who knows? But me personally, I don't want to hear about the Bezoses anymore. We saw the wedding. We saw the celebrities that were there. You let it go. No more Bezoses. It's enough. Move on with your life. Focus on something else. The only reason I'm covering it is for the ridiculousness of it. But again, was $50 million really worth it? I hope their prenup was damn good. But the question is, how much is the divorce settlement going to be? That's a question to my viewers. Well, this has been a great jam-packed hour. Great show tonight with a lot of great coverage. Again, guys, don't forget we have other shows on our network. We have the Jersey Shore with Damon Galdo, 8 to 9 p.m. on Monday nights, also 8 to 9 p.m. on Friday nights. He also does a repeat of his radio show on the Friday night show. And he also comes on live at 9 p.m. to kind of tell us about the week. And of course, don't forget my friend, the Conservative Corner, Seth Eisenberg, every Sunday night from 7 to 8:30 p.m. That's 7 to 8:30 p.m. right here on our network. And don't forget, we have our great show, The Pulse, Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Our show, The Pulse, is doing great. We have 5-people panel. We have 3 hosts, myself, Damon Galdo, Seth Eisenberg, and 2 special guests. You never know who our guests are going to be. We had a different guest last week. Maybe we'll have a different guest this week. But please, guys, tune into The Pulse. That show is doing phenomenally well. We love The Pulse. It's a great show, and we appreciate you guys looking at it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to us on our social media outlets, and we'll get to that in a second. Don't forget, of course, to give to Seth Eisenberg on his GoFundMe. There you go. Seth Eisenberg, Jonah Eisenberg /overcome/health/crisis. As you know, Seth was in the hospital for almost a month, over a month. He has had 5 surgeries on his foot. He almost lost his foot, and thank God he's working, but it's taking him time to catch up on bills. He's got a son to support. Please, guys, support a veteran, support Seth Eisenberg. A little goes a long way. He's raised $6,400 on his own. The goal is $25K. The main goal is $100K. Please, guys, instead of giving money to criminals and murderers, give to a veteran. He needs it. Also, my friend Allison Reedy, she's raising money for her son on her Give, Send, Go /constitutional. All her son Dylan wants to do is go to college in Utah and be the American dream. He's the next generation. He could be president of the United States one day, but he can't do that unless he goes to college. So please, guys, he wants to go to this one college in Utah. Please donate to him. Average donation is $100. We want to get him there. College, as you know, is very expensive. And again, guys, you can follow all of us and know all of our information and our shows on our social media platforms. We are on Truth Social at America's Pulse Network, at Rumble at America's Pulse Network, on X at America's Pulse Network, on YouTube at America's Pulse Network. And don't forget, guys, to follow me, Alexandra Levine, on Facebook, at Alexandra LEVI20 on X, at Air Levine 85 on Rumble, at Air Levine 85 on Instagram, at Air Levine 85 on True Social, and at Levine Consulting on YouTube. Thanks again, guys, for watching. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.